Hello, and welcome to this introduction to the Circular Transition Indicators, Metrics for Business, Why Business. This is a pre-recorded webinar in which you'll learn more how the CTI framework was developed, its basic principles, a deeper insight into how it works, the online tool, and a quick word on how you can engage with CTI and WBCSD throughout 2020. My name is Brendan Edgerton, Director of the Circular Economy Program here at WBCSD. I'm joined by Caroline Van Bronschoot, the WBCSD Project Lead for CTI, Irene Gedeon, WBCSD Communications Lead for CTI, Suzanne Kuiper from KPMG, who supported the development of CTI, and Roy Verkulen, from the CEO of Circular IQ, the software developing partner for the online tool. In the next 40 minutes or so, we'll provide a project introduction, the framework, methodology, and process, a deeper dive into the indicators, the CTI online tool, and lastly, how to learn more and get engaged. Since this is a pre-recorded webinar, unfortunately, we will not have the chance for a Q&A session, but we invite you to join one of our monthly interactive webinars, which you can learn more about at wbcsd.org. For those less familiar with WBCSD, the World Business Council for Sustainable Development is a member-based organization of 200 global companies that work together on business solutions for a more sustainable world. Through collaboration, we aim for results that are more impactful than any company could achieve on its own. We built our programs around 6 systems transformations that are necessary to achieve a sustainable world by 2050. These are cities and mobility, climate and energy, food and nature, people, redefining value, and circular economy. Within the Circular Economy Program, we offer our flagship project, Factor 10, consisting of 6 work streams. We bring over 40 companies together from 15 industries and over 15 countries to co-develop solutions around circular metrics, policy, and deep dive into specific value chains and their challenges that they face, like plastics and packaging, the bioeconomy, buildings, and electronics. Today, our global economy is only 9% circular, leaving forward-looking companies with questions like, how circular are we? How circular should we be? And how would we begin to measure and monitor progress in that circular transition? To help companies answer these questions, we developed CTI with 26 companies and an advisory group of 8 influential organizations in the circular economy, with the following objective: to provide insight in circular performance on a company's level, with the objective of driving the circular transition through the adoption of circular business models that improve company longevity and resilience. The key principles of the framework are that it is simple, that it's consistent regardless of company size, industry, or value chain position, complete, complementary to existing sustainability metrics and frameworks, and lastly, neutral, as it is objective, quantitative, and based on demonstrable data, refraining from subjective value judgments. The CTI is an internal-facing framework that helps companies understand through a self-learning methodology where they sit in their circular transition and the associated risks and opportunities to the company. Since it highly depends on each company what their transition looks like, CTI doesn't determine good or bad performance, but simply presents feedback to the company to decide whether the results are in accordance with their own ambitions. I'd like to now invite Caroline Van Bronschoot here to share a little bit more on the CTI methodology and the process. Caroline?
Thank you, Brendan. I think we can all agree that the circular economy cannot be a one-company exercise. It requires substantial collaboration across value chains. Think of a very simple value chain and imagine that both resource extraction and wasting materials is reduced to a minimum. Where does all the material to keep this economy running come from? Circulating all the materials will take a tremendous coordinated effort behind the scenes. So collaboration across industries and value chains is imperative in this transition. For the development of the CTI methodology, however, the working group chose to look at what is in full control of a company. That is why the framework focuses on materials that flow within the company boundaries. The CTI was built for circular performance assessment at different levels. For example, a company level, a business unit level, or a production facility level. This circular performance is expressed in a percentage for circular inflow and circular outflow, and it represents the balance between the circular material flows and the linear material flows. It is determined by analysis at 3 key intervention points. First of all, the point of inflow. How much of the company's sourced materials is circular? Secondly, it looks at a flow recovery potential at the point of design. Does the company assemble or treat its materials or products so that technically they can be repaired, refurbished, or recycled? And lastly, it looks at the point when materials leave the company boundary. To what extent does the company use its business models or work with its value chain partners in order to ensure that materials and products in actual effect get reintroduced into the economy after their initial end of life? So that is how a company's ability to close the loop of materials is evaluated. Since water and renewable energy are an important part of a circular economy, we assess them in separate indicators for which more details can be found in the CTI report, which can be downloaded from the CTI landing page. We consider this set of indicators as the essential base of the CTI, and we've grouped them together in the closing the loop indicator module. Every company will start their CTI assessment by completing this module. For companies that want to gain additional insight, we've developed extra indicators into 2 additional modules. Optimize the loop, focusing on optimizing resource use and providing insights on prioritization of materials. These indicators look at specific critical materials as they were identified by the European Commission and the US government. Additionally, this module provides an insight into which types of recovery were used for recovered materials. So were they repaired, refurbished, recycled, etc. In the last module, Value the Loop, we shed light on a company's business performance through its circular material flows. We currently have 1 indicator included called the circular material productivity, for which Suzanne will help us explain in a few minutes how this is calculated and what it represents. These are the indicators that are included in version 1.0 of the framework. We're currently exploring further development and additional indicators based on company feedback and business needs. Finally, we have developed a process that helps companies with a structured approach to their assessment, taking them through it step by step. It provides guidance to subsequently scope your assessment in a way that it drives meaningful insights for your company, select the relevant indicators that fit that scope, identify data resources and collect data needed for the assessment, and perform the calculations. These 2 steps, for which the CTI tool was designed to help relieve the burden of human resources needed, as Roy will show us later in this webinar. Step 5 will then help companies to analyze and interpret the outcomes of their assessment. In step 6, companies prioritize material flows, assess the company's specific risks and opportunities, and explore the relevant circular strategies in response to those risks and opportunities. And finally, the framework helps companies to plan high-level implementations of their circular strategies with targets that can then be cross-checked against actual performance in the next cycle. This was a high-level overview of the CTI. We would now like to hear from Suzanne Kuiper from KPMG, who has supported the development of the framework, to take us on a deep dive into the indicators that are included.
Thank you, Caroline. We will now dive into the indicator calculations. We start with the first module of the close the loop. The percentage circularity is a combination of the percentage circular inflow and the percentage circular outflow. The total for both on a company level are the weighted average in a percentage of circularity of its identified flows. This means we need to assess the percentage circularity for each type of inflow and outflow individually. So how do we assess the percentage circularity for an identified flow? The percentage circular inflow is divided as following: either non-virgin, or in other words, secondary inflow, or rapidly renewable inflow. For the latter, this needs to be sustainably grown and harvested in a rate that replenishment can occur. We look at the percentage circularity for the company's outflows. The circular outflow is a bit less straightforward. It is a combination of two aspects: potential recoverability and actual recovery. The potential recoverability assesses the following two questions. Is it technically feasible and is it economically viable to bring back the outflow to the functional equivalence of inflow? That's the first question. And the other is for biodegradable outflow. This means that the nutrients can return to the biosphere. In other words, the potential recovery is the theoretical question whether the design of the outflow allows for materials to be recovered, whether that is through reuse, refurbishing, or recycling. This can be classified as a full potential, no potential, or some potential. The second half of the outflow calculation is the actual recovery. Here it is assessed what actually happens in practice. Yes, your product can be designed so that it can be recovered, but if it's still ending up in landfill at the end of life, materials are still lost. So the actual recovery rates could originate from regulatory schemes, industry associations, or more specific, if a company has set up an own take-back scheme or innovative business models. We chose to have both the potential recovery and the actual recovery included in the model, because this will give different handling perspectives for companies. The circularity calculation reflects back on the 3 points where a company could influence the circularity: the circular inflow with procurement, the potential recoverability with design, and the actual recovery with new innovative business models in which the companies could stay owner, have buyback schemes, or further enhancement of collaboration within the value chain to increase the open loop recovery. The two other indicators in the closed loop module are the percentage water circularity and the percentage renewable energy. The indicator for the percentage water circularity is in development, and a combined working group has been formed between the WBCSD Global Water Solutions Group and the Circular Metrics Group. The indicator is targeted to be launched in January 2021. The percentage renewable energy is the part of the energy used that is renewable. Renewable energy is important because the circular economy runs on renewable energy. However, it was decided to measure both energy and water in a separate indicator and not factor it in the percentage circularity. The reason is because these behave differently than the physical flows. Energy become emissions and the global water loop is closed, but local scarcity and quality issues can still occur. Moreover, most companies are already separately measuring these indicators, and this could be used in line with the definitions. The aim of the framework is to be complementary. The second module is to optimize the loop and currently consists of 2 parts: critical materials and recovery type. Critical materials are materials that are prone to become scarce in the relative near future, have an economic importance, and are hard to substitute by other materials. There are lists, for example, in the EU and the US, but also some countries have lists on national level. The reason for looking into these materials is because the closed loop is weight-based. This means that the indicator steers to closing the heaviest loops first. However, there might be other reasons to prioritize certain flows, and one of those is the criticality, as these might have a higher impact on the linear risk that a company is facing. Given that the relative amount of this material can be quite low, even if economic and business impact is high, we both measure the percentage as well as the absolute amounts and the costs. The recovery type assesses the different categories of recovery that occur. The closed-loop model does not discriminate in the different recovery types as long as downcycling and energy recovery are excluded. There is no difference in score for reuse, remanufacturing, refurbishment, biodegrading, or recycling at the same functional equivalence. The reason for this is the generic nature of the framework, as well as the acknowledgement that all strategies need to occur at some time, at some place in the value chain. It is unlikely that items can be reused forever, so recycling at some point is needed. The opportunities for companies to use strategies will depend upon the position in the value chain. The closer to the consumer, the more opportunities for repair and reuse, while material producers might focus their activity at optimizing for recycling by designing and having mono materials. In the Optimize the Loop, the strategies of a company are visualized and companies are encouraged to search for opportunities to move to the higher value strategies. In general, the closer to the end consumer, the most value has been added, and the highest value can be maintained by higher value strategies. The final module is called Value the Loop, which currently has one indicator, the circular material productivity. This is the revenue divided by the linear inflow. A one-off measurement will not tell that much. It will give $1 per ton or €1 per kilogram. The most relevant is to track this over time, to demonstrate decoupling of the revenue from the dependency of linear inflow. In that sense, it is also related to the indicator that countries might use, of GDP divided by domestic material consumption. This indicator will improve if linear inflow is either replaced by circular inflow or reduced through, for example, lightweighting, but also through more drastic changes, like innovative business models as a product as a service, where the revenue is generated with the same products and materials, lowering the need of linear inflow. We see potential for future development of other indicators within both the Optimize the Loop as well as the Value the Loop modules, which we will propose and prioritize based on companies' need and interest.
Thank you very much, Suzanne. We will now dive into the CTI online tool that was developed in partnership with Circular IQ. We invite Roy Verkoelen, founder of Circular IQ, to take us through a demo of the tool.
Thank you, Caroline. Hi, I'm Roy. I'm the founder of Circular IQ, and we built the CTI tool in partnership with the World Business Council for Sustainable Development. Our goal with this online tool is to help businesses measure their circularity in an easy way and provide smart analytics and reports to help analyze and prioritize improvement actions and compare circularity across plants, business units, and product groups. You're looking at ctitool.com. We have two types of accounts available to support you in implementing the CTI methodology. Let me start with the Essential account. With this account, you can get acquainted with the tool and experience the value it can bring to your company. It allows for a full assessment cycle to help you understand what the tool can do for you. When you decide that this has value for your organization, we recommend you upgrade to the CTI Professional membership. With CTI Professional, you can initiate an infinite number of assessments and work together with as many people as you like. This includes a support package to help you and your team get started. And on top of that, you have access to all dashboarding and report functionalities. Registering for an account is easy as pie. You just click on your preferred membership plan and fill out your details, after which your account will be created. After you register, you'll receive an email to activate your account. Here we see the tool in action. The screen is divided in two sections. On the right side, you have access to the circular guidance and sections from the Circular Transition Indicator Framework report to help you gather the data needed in an efficient manner. You can select your scope, your timeline, and any inflows or outflows you want to prioritize in step 1. In step 2, You can select your indicators for the assessment you have started and again see the circular guidance on your right, explaining the 3 indicator modules you can choose from. The circular guidance is available at every step of the way to support you on your CTI journey. We will select Close the Loop and Optimize the Loop and go to step 3. This is where the fun starts, and you can start collecting your data. If your data is already organized in spreadsheets, both account types will allow you to simply import them into the tool. I'll show you how that works in a second. For now, I'll click Save, so we also have time to show you the other steps. In this screen, you can add any critical materials you might be using by simply selecting them. On your right, the circular guidance shows you how the circular material productivity is calculated. In this screen, you can manually add inflow and fill out where your data will come from and who has access to it. This is also where you can invite suppliers and coworkers to help complete your data set. For now, I'll click Add Inflow and show you the next screen. I will click the Submit button, close the inflow details, and mark the inflow as complete. The data collection for the outflow works the same way. Here, you can see your Sankey diagram, demonstrating the circularity of the inflow and the outflow you've uploaded. With the professional account, you can also download the template and import your dataset automatically. But for now, let's move to the next step. Now we will click on Generate Report to give you an idea of what the report looks like. And here's the report, where you can see your priority materials, your inflow analysis, and a detailed breakdown of your inflows and outflows. This report will help you to analyze and prioritize your improvements in step 5 and 6. In each step, the report will be expanded and enriched so you can easily inform stakeholders and report on your progress. I hope I've triggered your interest, and we look forward to keeping you updated on any further developments, and we hope to see you soon at ctitool.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Roy. That was very helpful, and it's great to see you working in the demo. Lastly, I would like to ask Irene Gideon, comms lead for the CTI in WBCSD, to provide us with an update regarding our comms outreach.
Thank you, Caroline. At the time when this webinar is recorded, the situation with COVID-19 made necessary to look at alternative ways to promote the CTI. So we had to adapt our communications plan and added different touch points with the companies, like online trainings, webinars, more articles and opinion pieces, and others. For the latest updates, please refer to the landing page of the CTI and also the homepage of WBCSD for all info related to events. Our communication assets remain a very important element on how to promote CTI to companies. At this point, I would like to focus on the case studies. We see case studies as a perfect opportunity for companies to share their experience and learnings with their peers. Our intention is to build a database with all those case studies. For that, we invite companies to start using the CTI framework and tool and share what they have done and learned, as all can benefit from it. These are some examples of the case studies we currently have available on our website. You can see the website link at the lower part of the page, and you can find the case studies under the CTI Academy section. Thank you very much.
And thank you for listening to the webinar. We hope it's been informative, and we invite you to learn more on the WBCSD CTI landing page through the framework report and, of course, on the CTI online tool. The links are provided on the screen, as you can see. If you would like to get in touch with us, please email us at cti@wbcsd.org or sign up for one of the monthly interactive webinars in which you can ask your questions directly to the CTI team. So let's get measuring. Thank you.